Keeping it real.
What it do, man? It's your brother Bishop of Bishop Zone TV. So, y'all biatches want to bring y'all musty asses down to Texas. And you're trying to figure out, which city do I want to move to? Do I want to move to Houston or do I want to move to Dallas? Well, I'm your guy to go to. Don't go to no other YouTube channel. Y'all, hey, stop it. I'm your guy. I'm a Texan. I'm from East Texas, but I've been living in Houston for over 10 years, and I've been familiar with Dallas. I mean, I'm talking going back and forth to Dallas since I was wee high. I'm talking from elementary on up. So I'm very familiar with both cities, and I'm gonna give you an unbiased opinion about both cities. So, and by the way, before I go into my spiel, don't forget to like and subscribe. And keep in mind that even though some of these things are general offerings, I'm really coming from a black perspective on this, because I've lived in both, and I've experienced both cities as a black single male and as a black married man, all right, with children. So that does play a part in just kind of my perspective on things now. So keep that in mind. All right, so let's go right into it. Houston versus Dallas. Where do we want to start? Okay, let's start with the weather. In my opinion, both cities suck. Both cities are garbage when it comes to weather. I mean, this is Texas. And Texas, I mean, it's not all bad, but when you think of the summertime and even spring, Texas is not the most ideal state when it comes to weather. And it's really kind of like pick your poison. Do you like tornadoes or do you like hurricanes? Do you like hailstorms or do you like flooding? Do you like thunderstorms or do you like, well, humidity or dry heat, I should have said. Well, in my opinion, again, coming from Houston, living in Houston, very familiar with Dallas, I would pick Dallas as the more tolerable place to live in when it comes to weather, because let me tell y'all something. Tornadoes don't happen that often. I mean, you're more likely to experience a tornado in Dallas or DFW than you will in Houston. But for the most part, it's not as often as people think. Whereas in Houston, yeah, you don't get hurricanes as often, but you get flooding a lot. I mean, flooding is a constant threat here in Houston. And it seems as though it's getting worse. I mean, I'm not lying to y'all. There's a saying in Houston: when it rains, it's flooding somewhere. So, and that's for real. So y'all gotta decide which one will work for you: tornadoes or flooding. Again, Dallas wins in this scenario right off the bat. All right, let's talk about cost of living. Which city wins in the cost of living department? Okay, I'm gonna be straight up with y'all. Both cities are becoming more expensive, even Houston. It's just right now, you know what it is, inflation, a lot of people moving down here. So the prices will continue to increase. But if I had to decide which city has a better cost of living, it easily goes to Houston, because at least in Houston, there's still more affordable housing in the metropolitan area than what you get in DFW. DFW, on the other hand, is just, man, it's increasingly expensive. I mean, look, Dallas is cool. I like Dallas. I like Dallas-Fort Worth, but it's not worth the expenses. It's not. I mean, like, it's not worth it. It's nothing truly unique that stands out about Dallas-Fort Worth that you can get in other major cities here in America. I mean, really, when you think about it, Dallas-Fort Worth is kind of like, I don't want to say it's just completely generic, but it's like, it's a every city type of town, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You know, there's no lake in the middle of downtown like Chicago. There's no eclectic streetscapes like New York. It's no coastline like LA. I mean, there's no historical landmarks on the level of what you get in San Francisco. So it's no reason as to why Dallas should be as expensive as it is. I mean, it's just endless sprawl in every direction. So yeah, Houston wins in that department. All right, let's go to traffic. Which city is better for traffic? Again, this is another pick your poison moment. Dallas Fort Worth, man, they got like faster drivers. I swear, it's like NASCAR out there. And then you got Houston, in my opinion, they have more aggressive drivers. Both are horrible, but in my opinion, Houston is worse because it just has more congestion, more road rage incidents. I mean, both of them have really bad road rage incidents. This is Texas at the end of the day, but Houston seems to have more. And also Houston's infrastructure. And don't get me wrong, Dallas got a lot of potholes on their freeways, the interstates, but I mean, Dallas just has more shine and pop too to their freeways. You know, they do a little better job than that. You know, Houston, on the other hand, it's just the worst. I'm telling you, traffic is horrible. You will hate Houston when you're in traffic. You will hate it. It's no ifs, ands, buts about it. You don't hate it. So yeah, Dallas Fort Worth wins in that category. All right, let's talk about metropolitan area, metro offerings, because, you know, often we say Dallas, but when we say Dallas, we mean the whole metroplex. That includes Fort Worth. Even though Fort Worth is its own city, but because Dallas is the most popular city within the metroplex, we just tend to say Dallas. And just like Houston metropolitan area. Houston is the most centric city in the metropolitan area, but there's other suburbs that make up the Houston metropolitan area. So which one is better? I ain't gonna waste y'all time. Hands down, Dallas Fort Worth wins this category. I mean, god damn, it ain't even, Dallas Fort Worth winning with their eyes closed. I mean, because when you really think about it, Dallas Fort Worth has Plano, Frisco, McKinney. Then you also got even mid-tier burbs like Grand Prairie, Irving, Rowlett, Mansfield. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then, of course, you got Fort Worth, which is not a suburb of Dallas. It's its own city. And it's a unique city, too. You know, what Dallas has that Houston doesn't is a lot of incorporated suburbs. You know, so there's more organized suburbs. These suburbs have better streets, neighborhoods with sidewalks. And why am I saying that? Because Houston, for some reason, has this thing where even on like main roads full of businesses on either side, they can have they can have ditches. Like there's ditches on main streets in Houston. The infrastructure is lacking because Houston has a lot of unincorporated areas. So, I mean, you know, it doesn't give it the best look. I mean, some parts of Houston, I'm talking about large swaths of Houston, look tacky. I'm just gonna be real with you. But it's not the best looking area. And some of it just plain looks ugly, outdated. I mean, because of unincorporated areas, even neighborhoods within these unincorporated areas tend to age faster than what you would get in Dallas Fort Worth. So, you know, DFW, I mean, there's really no comparison. I give Houston credit when it comes to the city, the core city, you know, like the Loop. That's a neighborhood. Really, that's not a neighborhood, but that's an area in Houston where, in my opinion, that's the best neighborhood-ish area in the whole state of Texas because of what is inside the Loop. And I'm talking Loop 610. It has a lot to offer, but outside of the Loop, once you get past the city limits, I would say right before you get to Beltway 8, I mean, Houston, in my opinion, it drops off as far as quality of life and amenities. You know, you do have some nice suburbs. Don't get me wrong. You have some decent suburbs like Katy, Cinco Ranch, Richmond, Sugar Land, and the Woodlands. But, you know, when you compare them to Dallas, you know, they pale in comparison. So Dallas wins in that category. All right. Culture. What's the culture? Which one has the better culture? Okay. Now, this is where I'm really speaking from a black perspective. My personal experience, Houston wins this hands down from a black perspective. Now, if we just talking from a general perspective, Houston still wins. Why? Because Houston, more so than Dallas, Fort Worth, embraces their diversity. I mean, it's just ingrained and embedded in Houston. You know, often when I think of Houston's diversity, it kind of reminds me of, you know, like LA or even close to New York. It's not as ethnically rich as New York, because no city is in America, but it's closer to that than what you get in Dallas. Because even though Dallas, Fort Worth does have a lot of diversity, for some reason, I really don't see that much representation on the level of Houston, with other groups in the core of the city. I'm talking about the most happening spots. Like Dallas has over a million, has at least 1.2 million black people, just like Houston, even though I think Dallas has a little bit more at this time, but they're kind of even. Yet you don't see as many black people in like the dominant society of these cities like you do in Houston. Houston, like the black culture is pretty rich. It's in your face and it's more tolerated. The whole concept of diversity is just more tolerated in Houston compared to Dallas. In Dallas, it feels like it's secondary. It's not Austin. It's not so white Austin, but it's like, well, white's the main course. But then you got you got your Mexicans, you got your Asians, you got your blacks. It's kind of like that, if that makes sense. I probably lost y'all, but again, culture, Houston, in my opinion, wins in that department. And I will also say Houston has the more unique cultural institutions, like the museum district, for example. That really stands out to me, where, Dallas does have good museums, but it's just a vibe that the museum district gives me that you can't necessarily find like that in Dallas. You know what I mean? Dallas is more like corporate in its culture. So it does give it a little blandness, but it has a unique culture. You do have your deep elements. I gotta mention that. You got your deep elements, you got your uptowns. I mean, Deep Ellum is truly unique. Houston doesn't have an answer for Deep Ellum. Lower Greenville, you got those neighborhoods, but it's just something about it. You know what I mean? From a black perspective. So Houston wins in that category. Economy. Again, let's just cut the BS. DFW excels in this department. DFW is one of the best cities when it comes to economic opportunities. Dallas is where you go to let your career grow. You understand what I'm saying? That's where your career can prosper, in Dallas. I mean, it's no secret when you look at all the corporate relocations, moving their headquarters to DFW, it's a reason why. They're not doing that as much in Houston when you compare it to Dallas. It's a career-driven city. Houston, on the other hand, it does have a diversifying economy, but oil and gas is still king. So Dallas wins in that department. All right. Crime. Yikes. Dallas wins in this category. Look, Dallas has their own issues with crime, just like most major cities in America. But I mean, it is what it is. I got to be honest with y'all. Dallas is safer. Dallas-Fort Worth is generally safer than Houston. I mean, it don't help Houston's reputation when you have this highly publicized rapper. I mean, this Takeoff, we talking Takeoff of the world-known Migos, lose his life in Houston. It doesn't do Houston any favors, and it just adds to a already shifty reputation that the city has. And I mean, there's some safe areas in Houston. Some areas I feel completely safe in. But for the most part, Dallas is a much more safer option than Houston. So yeah, DFW wins in that category. So to sum everything up, really, it's kind of about taste. It's all about taste, really, honestly. Houston might suit you better if you're a single black millennial or professional looking to experience a rich black culture. If you want to hit up some day parties, get some bottomless mimosas, get your network game going, over some chocolates or something like that. When you hear jazz in the background, or, you just want to experience some Zydeco, some blues. You just want to experience a diverse black cultural experience, right? Houston is more of the city for you. Also can't forget about the international crowds. Houston would be more in your favor. But if you're building a black family or just a family in general, and you're kind of like in your mid-30s or even in your 20s, you're a more laid-back person. You don't need in-your-face black culture. You don't need day parties. I mean, they have day parties and stuff like that, but you don't need an abundance of those things. Then Dallas-Fort Worth, in my opinion, would be better suited for you. And actually, I would say Dallas would be the better city in general if you're not looking for all those turn up type situations, because I think that's where Houston excels over Dallas, is the more turn up lifestyle. You know what I mean? Whereas Dallas is it has the turn up, not as much, but it also has better quality of life. I'm talking about when we're talking about school districts, safer neighborhoods, better built neighborhoods, more amenities when it comes to family outings. And then Dallas-Fort Worth easily, in my opinion, wins in that department. You know, so it's all about taste, though. Hey, if you're in your 20s or something, move to Houston, get the turn up out your system, and then when you're ready to slow down, get a family, move to Dallas. All right, if you can afford it, though. So hopefully that helps. Let me know. I'm not a realtor, so don't be asking me, do you know some houses? I can get some homes at, some prices. You're going to have to pay me for that information. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just here to give you a little bit of P's and Q's so you don't have to move to Arizona. All right? Don't forget to like and subscribe. And leave a comment below. Let me know what's up, man. Or, hey, stay y'all asses where you at. Don't move down here. We fool. Move to East Texas. How about that? Move to Waco. All right? Holla.